Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about walking away from bad situations and bad people. So when I say bad, I don't mean like literally bad, like evil people. Obviously, if you've got someone who is, completely evil in your life, then you might need more than just the walking away method to free yourself from that person. So if you're really dealing with a really, really bad person, then it's definitely, a wise thing to do to speak to someone professional about it. Maybe even the authorities if it's someone, like pure evil, really, really bad, who's doing horrible things to you. So I'm more talking about people that are perhaps a little bit toxic, situations that feel a bit toxic to you. And what I mean by toxic, because I know that word can be thrown around a lot these days, is situations where you just feel depleted and you feel it's soul destroying to be around these people or in these certain situations. So that could, when I see situations, that could be a job situation. It could be some kind of relationship, right? So it's place because what you want is you want to be around people and you want to be in an environment where you don't feel like the energy is being sucked out of you, right? Because you have these people around these days called like energy vampires. And they're people that, when you hang around them, when you're around them a lot, they make you feel bad. They make you feel worse about yourself, and when they deplete your energy. And sometimes it's a good idea to spend less time with those people or cut them out entirely if you can. And the same goes with certain situations. Let's say you're in a bad job situation and you don't like your job. Let's say you don't like the work environment. Perhaps you've got a boss that you don't like. Perhaps there's just a lot of people that you work with that you don't like. Perhaps there's a lot of backstabbing going on, a toxic work environment, shall we say, right? So sometimes you have to walk away from these situations. Sometimes you have to do what's best for your peace of mind, okay? Now, obviously, if you've got a job that you want to leave, then obviously it's a good idea first to find a new job before you leave that job that you don't like, right? Because you need that security, right? You don't want to just, lose your job and then not be able to pay your bills because you've quit, right? Because you didn't like the environment. Obviously, you need to find a way to sustain that job that you currently have while also looking for a new and better job for yourself, okay? So that's just one example. So why is walking away then so powerful? Now, walking away is like a negotiation, right? So, because sometimes, you have bad people in your life, toxic people, but they don't really know what they're doing to you. So it's not a good idea to just cut someone out of your life without first telling them why you're leaving, or without, giving them the chance to change their behavior. So let's say you've got like a family member that when you are around them, they're always belittling you, making you feel like crap, always saying things to you that deplete your energy, and you just don't like being around them and you kind of want to avoid them. So if you've got someone like that in your life, then the first thing that you need to say, especially if they're speaking to you in a mean way, or in a way that's very disrespectful or condescending or something like that, you need to say to them something like, look, I don't really like the way that you're speaking to me right now. So I'm going to go and, you've got my contact info. So, if for when you want to apologize, because I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to leave the situation and, you call me when you're ready to apologize. Now, someone that loves you and cares about you, that isn't really conscious of what they're doing, will see that as a wake-up call, a slap around the face, shall we say, and be like, "Oh no, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to say anything of that. I was just being negative. I'm going through a lot lately, right?" That a person that genuinely loves you and cares about you will apologize and also will change their behavior once you've called them out on it. But you have to call them out on it, right? And when it comes to a situation like a job situation, let's say, you don't like your current job for whatever reason, you don't like the environment, there's a lot of things going on. Well, so once you find a new job and you've got a new job lined up, you can then go to your boss and say, look, I've got this new job, I'm going to go for it because I'm not really enjoying working here at this company and these are the reasons. Now, if that employer, if your boss values you and they think that you're a valuable member of the team, they will try to keep you. So they may offer you more pay, or they will ask more about your queries and see if they can change the situation for you. See if they can maybe put you in a different department or put someone else in a different department or something like that if they value you. If they just see you as a number and they don't really care, then they're not going to mind if you leave, right? But you've got that new good job opportunity waiting for you. Perhaps you're, handing in your, your 2 weeks notice or 4 weeks notice, whatever. So being able to walk away and mean it, like, because sometimes people try to do these like negotiations, but they don't really mean it. They're bluffing, right? So you may say to someone that you're friends with that, hey, don't treat me this way, I'm going to walk away. But then a few hours later, you're still hanging out and being friends with them because you didn't mean the threat. You didn't mean it, right? And the only way a negotiation and walking away like this works is if you actually truly mean what you're saying. So when you've got a job that you don't like and you've lined up a new job that you genuinely think is better for you, you don't mind handing in your 2 weeks notice because you genuinely mean the threat of leaving because you've got that new job lined up and perhaps you're really excited about that new job. Okay? But if you're bluffing and you don't really have another job lined up, or you don't actually really want to leave your job for whatever reason, perhaps you couldn't find a job that had a better pay, you're not really going to mean the threat. And sometimes people can catch on that. They can tell that you don't really mean the words that you're saying. And it goes for, these situations where, you are trying to walk away from someone that has been disrespectful to you. Like if you don't actually really mean it, because you've got to get to a point where, okay, I've really had enough of this and, I'm going to leave. And I genuinely mean that. I know that it's better for my mental health, it's better for my mental space if I walk away from this person. Right? And you have to really get to that point where you believe that. And you don't mind, really, if you don't hear from them again, right? Because it's for your best that you don't, right? Now, of course, like I said, people can actually change their behavior. And maybe because you might be in a place where you're like, well, I really would love them to be in my life. But it's just such a shame that they're treating me in this way and I don't deserve that. So I'm going to do what's best for me and walk away. You might really want them in your life, but you've also got to respect yourself more, shall we say, right? So that's why, sometimes walking away doesn't really have that much of an effect on people if you walk away from them, especially if you don't mean it, because if you don't mean it, then you're just going to come back after a while anyway. But if you mean it and you know in your heart that, you know what, this is over, I'm not going to, I'm fed up, basically, they'll be able to sense if you're really fed up. And that's when you're going to find out if that job really cares about you, if that person really cares about you. And that's why walking away is so powerful, because it gives you that clarity. It lets you know if you're valued, right? So if you're valued by a person that's disrespecting you, they're going to apologize. They're going to change their behavior. If you're respected by a job or other kind of situation that you're trying to leave, they will try and keep you. They will change their ways. They will bend the reality for you if they really want to keep you. And if they don't, then you'll just never hear from them, or that person that's being mean to you or whatever it is that they're saying to you to disrespect you, they're just gonna, not care. They're just gonna keep on doing what they're doing, right? So therefore then you need to either cut them out of your life completely, or you need to spend as much time away from them as possible and kind of measure the distance and spend less time with them. And it's an unfortunate thing that I've had to do in my life with, a few people that I've really cared about in the past. Some people I can only spend a little bit of time with because they're just energy vampires and they just suck all of the life out of me, basically, all of my positivity. And there's only so much you can spend around those people. It's kind of like, they kind of are like the ring in Lord of the Rings, where the more you spend with, the more time you are with them, it just makes you feel bad about yourself, right? And you just feel worse and worse and worse the longer you spend with them and the more negative you get, because it just rubs off on you. There was a quote that I heard recently. I think I was watching like a reel on Instagram or something, and I can't remember who said it, but this guy was saying, like, you know what, a negative person can bring a positive person down. A negative person can bring a positive person down, right? But unfortunately, a positive person can't bring a negative person up. Because if that person has chosen to be negative, has chosen to have a certain worldview, you could have all the positivity in the world, but if they've made up their mind to be miserable, there's literally nothing you can do, right? And I've often noticed that in some of the comment sections of some of the videos that I've made. And this is a lesson that I learned over the last year or so. And that is, if someone comes to you and they're writing a comment or whatever, and they're really sad and they're miserable and they're telling you why they're miserable and they're sad, you can give them all the solutions in the world to help them solve their problems. But if they're just set on feeling that way, there's nothing that you can say that will change their behavior. And it's one of those hard lessons that I've had to learn as a relationship, a dating coach, because I get a lot of people from the internet coming to me wanting advice on relationship and dating and getting their ex back and things like that. And there's some people that I try and coach, and they are just so set in their ways, so set on their negativity, I can't reach them. I can't coach them. Right? There's nothing I can do for them. I can give them the best advice that I can, but it's up to them ultimately to take it. Right? When someone comes to me and they genuinely want to take on my advice and they genuinely want to get better, then that person, that's someone I can save. That's someone I can help. Right? But someone that's negative, that's not going to take on board anything I say, there's nothing I can do for them, even if it's the best advice in the world. Right? And I think a lot of other coaches out there would agree with me. It's like the old saying, you can't, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You can do all you can for them, but you can't make them save themselves, okay? And sometimes that's just the way with some people, okay? So there's sometimes as well, you need to walk away, even if you don't want to walk away, because it's something to do with your self-respect, right? You can't stay in a situation where you're being treated really poorly and treated like basically a second-class citizen, right? And you're treated in a really poor way. Sometimes you just have to do the self-respecting thing and move on with your life and move away from that situation or that person. Sometimes you just have to do that for your own self-respect. Okay, because the longer you stay in a situation where you're being disrespected, where you're undervalued, the more you start to believe that you deserve to be disrespected and that you deserve to be undervalued and not appreciated. Okay, so you need to do the self-respecting thing and move away from these situations that are making you feel like crap, and doing everything in your power to change your situation. It's something that you just got to do if you want to feel better. And it may be difficult, especially if it is a kind of job situation. But once you have that new job lined up, and you've got the job, basically, you can get away from that old job. It's something that you definitely can do if you are strong enough and if you try hard to find that new job, which I know can be difficult, right? There was a time when my wife was in a bad job that she really didn't like. For many, many different reasons. And it took her a year or so before she could find a new job. And, it was really tough because she had to stay in that old job for a long time until she could find a better job for her. And now luckily she is in a better job and she really enjoys that job. And she's really, really happy now. But it was tough. It was tough for both of us. It was tough for me to watch her go to work every day with like tears in her eyes almost every day. And it was really heartbreaking to watch someone you love go through that. And I'm assuming it was even worse for her because she was the one that actually had to suffer through that job as well. And sometimes you just have to suffer through it before you get that yes, before that application goes through and you find that job. Because you could be sending out, loads of resumes. Because my wife she was sending out her CV all the time, and for a long time she wasn't hearing anything back because it was this time when the pandemic was going on and all that kind of stuff, so there wasn't many people hiring anyway. So it was just a really tough time, and it was a struggle, but we did get through it. She got through it, right? She needed it more than me, definitely, and she did find a new job, and it was great. So it's one of those things. Sometimes you might have to stay in a crappy situation for a while, right? Unfortunately, but things do change. Life does change. It may seem like something's forever, but I can guarantee that it won't always be forever, okay? Life does change. Even if it doesn't seem like it at the moment, things do change, and you can change your life, and you can find a better situation for yourself if you give yourself the strength to walk away. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.